Hello, it's Deborah Richards, founder and managing partner of Madison's Residential Sales and Lettings Agents based on the Pantiles in the heart of Tunbridge Wells. Well, one thing I'm often asked about when I'm out and about doing evaluations or meeting buyers is the London buyer. So we have a great affinity and an attraction for the London buyer, and they frequently do decide to move out to Tunbridge Wells from the capital. So it's often very attractive to sellers to think that their house might appeal to the London buyer, and equally reasons what particular properties that London buyers might go for and what would help them on their search. So I thought I'd do a bit of a general roundup on the London buyer, why they like Tunbridge Wells, what you need to think about to make your property appealing to them, and equally tips to help any London buyers thinking of moving to the area. So why are we so popular for the London buyer? Well, obviously, we're not far away from the capital, so it makes us a natural outpost, I suppose, for someone to look for to move if they still need to get to the capital for work. It's a nice spot to come to. We are only an hour on the train, roughly, give or take a little bit. You can get there quicker on the faster trains. But also the town itself, then, it has a real community in its own right. Of course, following the pandemic, there's much more working from home. So Tunbridge Wells is a great spot to have that nice blend of working from home in a very, very lovely, well-supported town, but equally then having easy access up to the capital as and when needed. And of course, our mainline stations that we access will get you into a variety, either the city or the West End. You've got good choice of where you need to get to in London. And of course, what do they like about being here? Well, of course, we've got such beautiful architecture, we've got wonderful green open spaces, and we've got our fabulous schooling. If you think your child is up for the grammar school system, they are obviously excellent. But if not, or grammar school isn't for you, for personal choice as well, we've got some really good state options in the form of Bennett, St Greg's, and Skinner's Kent Academy, and of course lots of great private school options. So schooling is really well catered for here. Really great amenities as well, shops, restaurant, leisure facilities, acres of beautiful countryside walks on your doorstep, and of course easy access to wider transport links, be that getting to Gatwick, Heathrow, or across to the continent via the tunnel. So it's a really, really convenient, lovely, beautiful town to live in. I have lived here now for 23 years, and I moved to Sevenoaks actually from London. I was living in London. I lived in southeast London for many, many years with my job, felt that I wanted to escape the capital a little bit, moved out to Sevenoaks. This is going back a good few years, I say 23 years. Sevenoaks was just too sleepy for me, so I carried on coming south and hit on the wonderful Tunbridge Wells. And I think sometimes you can take it for granted. You go to other places. Every day when I walk onto the Pantiles, I think, wow. And sometimes I'm behind tourists who come onto the Pantiles for the first time and go, wow. It really is a beautiful, beautiful part of the town to live, world to live in. Not perfect, but nowhere is, but I think it's got a lot to give. So London buyers, for all those reasons, love moving to our capital. But not every property is going to be for them on that first step. What they generally like is they want to be within walking distance to the mainline station. They're already contemplating a much bigger commute. So they don't really want to move out of the town too much. There are exceptions to this, but this is generally the walking distance to the station. So round St John's and the village area, those are very popular areas with the London buyers, who also then recognise they've got great schooling in those areas. And they like the nice architecture of those areas. They're not too bothered about off-road parking or a big garden because they've not had to particularly deal with those in London. But they just want more space for their money, recognising they will get more for their money in Tunbridge Wells and in those really desirable locations that give them convenience. They probably then second step onto the driveway, the bigger garden, the slightly further outside of town. But certainly for that first step, they tend to stick quite closely. And generally, they like a really, really well presented product. It's not often that they're up for a big renovation. They like something to look really nice, really on trend, and perfect for the sort of lifestyle that they are hoping to build when they move to Tunbridge Wells. It's really important at viewings with London buyers that you must educate them on the schooling. They don't often understand why the schooling is so popular in Tunbridge Wells, what it has to offer. So really educating them on how our grammar school system works, why the primary schools therefore sit so strongly, and all the different pros and cons of each area. On our website, we have got area guides, which give you a sense and a vibe of what every area in Tunbridge Wells does give. And we often direct London buyers to that because it helps them make those first choices. One thing to say, they are not naive or gullible or have no sense of what a property is worth. I think there is a perception amongst sellers that these London buyers will swan out, they'll sell their flat in Dulwich for £2 million and come down here and be staggered by what they can get for their money. They are as savvy and switched on a buyer as any other buyer would be. They never commit too soon, they shop around, they like to get a sense of value, they ask opinions from friends and family, and only when they feel they've done all that research do they land on their right property. And yes, they have good budgets because they often have sold for a bigger amount, but it doesn't mean they're stupid with it. It doesn't mean they don't understand value and be able to assess that value. So don't think that you're just going to put your house on the market and get a phenomenal price. They'll know if it's overpriced or not, just like any other buyer would. But if you want to make sure your house appeals to a London buyer, just make it as beautiful as possible. Look at current trends, go onto Pinterest, all of that. Look at the current fashions that are in at the moment and make sure your house absolutely hits that on the nail. And then if you're in one of those core locations, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to attract a good London buyer. And London buyers, well, do come and talk to us. We'd be delighted to help you. We do sell an awful lot of our book to London buyers. We are affiliated with the Mayfair office and Relocation Agent Network. We have the contract for them in Tunbridge Wells, which means that anybody in London who is thinking of moving but not sure where to go, they will be put in touch with us as an option for Tunbridge Wells to sit on their agenda. So we do have good affiliation with them. We can certainly advise them on recent sold prices. We can make them comfortable on the parking situation, how that all works in Tunbridge Wells, where the schools are, where the green open spaces are, where to go and get a next coffee, dog walks. So we can really help London buyers understand if that area is right for them, and we're always delighted to do so. I hope that's been of use. If anyone would ever like to discuss anything further, do give me a call. I'd be very happy to help.